Hey, welcome to your first video for lesson 3.8 dimensional analysis part 2 conversion rates. So this time we are going to up the ante a little bit. We'll start with this first video, and this first video will be similar to the last problem on the last video. But our next video is going to be even more complicated, and we'll have a pretty significant conversion factor or dimensional analysis that we're going to have to work through. This one. As you go underground, the Earth's temperature increases. In some places, it may increase 25 degrees Celsius per kilometer. That's substantial. Cool. It's like 70 or 80 degrees. No, like 85. That's a lot. What is this rate in degrees per meter? Okay, degrees per meter. So as of right now, we have this. I always start to write out what I know and what I'm starting with. This case, we have 25 degrees Celsius per 1 kilometer. I'll just do km for kilometer to keep it easy. 25 degrees Celsius per kilometer. And I want to go from degrees Celsius per kilometer to degrees Celsius per meter. So I need to ask myself, what conversion factor will help me to go from kilometers to meters? What's great about the about being anywhere but the United States is you don't have to deal with the imperial system. It's amazing. Meters to kilometers, the only difference is multiplying by 1,000. People, 1,000 meters go into a kilometer. So our conversion rate that we're going to be using is 1,000 meters is equal to 1 kilometer. Or you could say 1 kilometer is equal to 1,000 meters. What we now need to ask ourselves is, how do I make this work with this? How do I get this kilometers to turn into meters? Well, just like in the last lesson, you learned that if you multiply this by a conversion factor, something that is equal to 1, so 1,000 meters equals 1 kilometer, these equal 1. They equal the same thing. So because I found a conversion factor, I now just need to figure out what part of this conversion factor needs to go on the top side of this ratio and what goes on the bottom, okay? I want to get this kilometers to turn into meters. So instead, the thing that I write next to this needs to be in, or like it needs to be moving towards the units I need. So I don't want to write kilometers here. I don't want to write 1 kilometer here. Because if I did that, kilometers times kilometers gets me kilometers squared. That's like actually yucked up the process more than I need it to. I need it to reverse itself. It can't get more messy, okay? So I'm not going to put kilometers down here because then I get kilometers squared. Instead, I'm going to put kilometers up here because then I can cross them out between the numerator and the denominator. So I can say 1 kilometer is equal to 1,000 meters, and now I can start to actually cancel out some of this stuff. So kilometers cancel out between the top and the bottom, and what would be left behind on the top is degrees Celsius, good, over, there's nothing here, over meters, degrees Celsius over meters. That is what I want. That's my end goal, degrees Celsius over meters. So that means I can now do the work. So 25 degrees Celsius times 1 is 25 degrees Celsius. On the bottom, 1 kilometer, or 1 blank, kilometers no longer there, I forgot, it just canceled out. 1 times 1,000 meters is 1,000 meters. I'm not done though, because I want to know a unit rate here. This bottom number needs to be 1. That means my final work here needs to be simplified into a unit rate. So if I want this to be 1, that means I have to divide the bottom by 1,000. Whatever I do to the bottom, I have to do to the top. Otherwise, I'm changing the proportionality of everything. And that's not okay. So 25 degrees Celsius divided by 1,000 ends up getting us 0.025 degrees Celsius per 1 meter. So the degrees change less than 1/4 of a degree every meter, which is minute. But when you're talking about a kilometer, when we're talking about a little bit more than half a mile, changing by 80-ish, 90 degrees, 85-ish degrees Fahrenheit, or 25 degrees Celsius, that's substantial. That's a substantial temperature change. Based on the meter, not so much. Based on the kilometer, I mean, you're talking about being able to go ski or being able to go to the beach. That's big. Okay, cool. Fun first problem. I am going to make one more video and you're going to be able to see a more complicated dimensional analysis. Okay.